Rob G, you know this now that my birthday party's come and gone. Rob G, the first thing he says, I see you eating pasta now because I've been on a strict for the last year, Rob G, right? I was on a strict.
Yeah, you were like on the Atkins diet.
I lost 40 some odd pounds in the past year.
Wow.
And no, so some people in Detroit, I bring it up because they think I should be eating crow today. That's the reason, Rob G. Why? Yes, dum.
That was a good joke. That was better than what you said at your comedy, bro. Your stand-up routine.
Rob G, was it a little too blue for you, or?
No, some of the jokes, I mean, I heard some of them before, but the other ones, I'm like, you can't say that on the radio. So I'm glad that there was a no cell phone rule in effect because Rob would have been fired.
I might have been fired. It went a little blue.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, can I get a little bit of that? But I guess I'll refrain from that.
We'll talk
later.
We got a video coming.
Yeah,
what we're going to put together, and I'll be able to send
it to me.
Yeah, about the night.
But the raw, unedited stuff. Yeah, I'll have to send you that separately.
Yes.
Because if Rob wants to have a future in media, you can't have those jokes out and about.
I'm not ready to retire yet, so I got to hold on. But, yes. So from Detroit, I'm hearing about I should eat crow, and I was never buying into the Lions. You know my history in Detroit. I covered the Detroit Lions as a columnist for like 20 years, went on the road. I saw everything. I saw the Megatron and Stafford losses in the postseason. I saw 2 24-game road losing streaks, which you looked at me and can't believe, shook your head.
That's unfathomable.
That was during the Matt Millen era when he was GM. Just awful stuff. It was incredible how bad it was. And my whole point this year was everything lined up nicely for them.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers done out of the division. They had never won the NFC North, right? It's been a long time coming. Never won that division. So obviously, there's no Aaron Rodgers in the division. So Packers got a new quarterback. In Minnesota,
Kirk Cousins got hurt.
Mm-hmm. And the Bears weren't that good.
Yeah.
So there it is. They should have won the division. It was set up for them. Okay. My whole point was I'm going to believe it when they win a playoff game. Okay? That something different is happening in Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm not crowning them anything, but that something different is happening from what I was used to seeing because people made it like they had never won 10 or 11 games. They did with Jim Caldwell.
Yes.
They did go to the playoffs. They just didn't win.
Yeah.
So that was my whole point was let's not act like they never won 10 games. They never went to the playoffs, and this is all brand new.
Uh-huh.
I've seen those teams, and they lost.
Yeah.
And they had good players. Calvin Johnson was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
They had Stafford. They had Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
They had, you know what I mean, like some talented players.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they hold on. They get out to a lead in the first half. Only scored 3 points in the second half, but it's enough. And they hold the Rams. They win 24-23. What was the Rams, Rob G? 0-3 in the red zone in the second half.
Yep.
You know, couldn't get there. Couldn't get home.
Couldn't get in.
And that was the difference in the game. What your thoughts on the Lions this game and moving forward?
Well, you said,
because I got to give you credit. You did say that they would win the playoff game. You called it.
I did call that. But yeah, it was one of those things where you say you were waiting to see something new. I think you should have saw something new when Dan Campbell came in. And I know there's been coaches that have come in and spoke their talk and.
His name was Rod Marinelli, and he went 0-16. Exactly. I've seen those guys. He went
0-16?
Yeah, they went 0-16. And let me tell you, the year he went 0-16, Roger Goodell came to the Lions practice facility, met with the coach, and I swear, he comes into the media and he's like, I met with Coach Marinelli, and after I talked to him, man, I wanted to put on pads and a helmet myself and play. Like, he was that guy. Military guy, talked a great game, got a pound of rock, all that.
But, yes. But see,
I know Dan played.
So, I was just about to say, so that part, right? Yes, you can come in and talk the talk, but you can see his players walking the walk for him. He doesn't have to do that anymore. You don't see him saying the outlandish stuff that he said when he first got there. His players are doing that, and they're showing that. So, I mean, we could see that even down the stretch last year, right? The way they played down the stretch last year, they had bought in. The fans bought in. The fans were there, loud. They were showing up, and you could see the support starting to change there. And all that, that carryover from those couple of years to this moment now where they are. I mean, this team is for real, and you can see it. I mean, you can see the talent. You can see the X's and O's that are being put in place as well. This is a really well-rounded team.
Well, see, here, let me just push back a little bit on that.
That's okay. Yeah, for sure.
Let's do this. Here's why I still question where they were going and what we were seeing.
Yep.
when they played the playoff teams, the good teams, they didn't win. And that is where I started to question, what are we really watching? Okay, they beat Kansas City to start the season.
They beat Kansas City
and they were missing their two out of their 3 best players.
They're missing Kelsey, yep.
And
Jones, yep.
Okay, so they won.
Yep.
I'm not taking it away from them. Then they had a game against Baltimore. That was like, we're going to see where we are in Baltimore. They lost 38-6.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
That was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
They gave up 38 points to the Chargers. So I'm like, okay, they won that game on a long field goal, but they gave up 38 points in that game. They lost to Green Bay.
Well, you know,
right?
that loss doesn't look as bad now.
No,
though.
but at home at that time, Green Bay wasn't that good, and they were 9-2 at that time.
Yep.
And they lost to the Bears. Okay.
They lost to the Bears down the stretch, or was it early on?
And then they lost. They lost to the Bears midway. December 10th, at the end of the season.
End of the season, yeah.
So they lost that game, and then they also lost to the Cowboys in Dallas. Remember, that was another game that they should have won.
They should have won that.
They should have won that game, but they didn't. Yeah. So I saw those kind of games, and that's what gave me pause.
Well, you're operating from a place of futility.
Because that's all I saw.
So
right.
That's where you're operating from. But if you look at this team, obviously there's going to be some stinkers in the season. You're not going to play well all the way throughout. But just seeing the mechanics of their operation and how the coach, has set them up to be successful, and for them to go out and play the way they have, it's been night and day for me. And so, yes, I predict them, not just getting this one playoff win. I think they're going to win another one, and I think they're going to make it to the NFC Championship game, and I think they're going to have a chance to prove a lot of people wrong. And
so are they
hopefully
going
get
to the Super Bowl?
Not going to say
Why
that.
not?
I'm not, because they may have to go through San Fran and Candlestick.
So what?
Out here in Santa Clara. So
yeah, but you got to. But to get to the Super Bowl, you got to play a good team, right?
Yes, you do.
Do you think they can go to the Super Bowl?
Do I? I do think they can.
So do you think they will?
I'm not going to say that.
Why not? I'm trying to
I see that, but San Francisco is the best team. But Detroit, on a given Sunday, if they have the right recipe that day, can beat San Fran too as well. But I'm not going to say they're going to be the representation of the NFC right now. No.
And anybody who's watching me locally on KNBC, I do the show called The Challenge after every football game, after Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
I never bought into the Rams. They had this stretch at the end. They beat a lot of bad teams, got a nice run going, and I just was even not convinced. Like, everybody had Matthew Stafford going to the Hall of Fame again. Like, that talk every time he wins wins a number of games. He should be in the Hall of Fame. No, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And I give him credit because I think he was. Did he get a concussion or
it looked like it? It looked like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kept going.
Kept going.
Yeah,
man, he was on the ground. They had an image of him on Twitter. I mean, eyes were wide open. Like he was out. He was out of it. I mean, he was so tough in that game. He played well. Wasn't his fault that playoff game.
No.
Yeah.
No. But the Lions, they did win a playoff game. First time since 1991, which is a long time. I remember watching the game.
I remember that game too.
Yes. It was on CBS. I'm almost positive. No, what am I thinking? Yeah, I think it was CBS. Because I remember John Madden after the game saying, "You're watching." They beat the Cowboys with Aikman,
I know, yeah,
and Emmett and Michael Irvin, and him saying, "You're watching the two teams of the '90s, the Lions and the Cowboys." And remember, they demolished the Cowboys that day.
They did.
And he said, "You'll be seeing plenty from these two in the next decade."
That's crazy.
And guess what?
That was
Cowboys wound up going on to being a dynasty, winning 3 out of 4, right? And the Lions never got back, never won a playoff game after that. And it's incredible.
And even taking a step further, that next week got destroyed by Washington.
Right. The very next week.
So it wasn't that close for them even at that point. But to think that they wouldn't have a chance to really get back to that at that time.
With some of the players they have now. And football is funny. Sports is funny. That's why windows open and close. Like we talk about all the time. Like Buffalo. I thought their window closed. All right, they're going to play the Chiefs. Here's their opportunity. If they don't get past the Chiefs, that team might not be together again. You know what I mean? They did what they did against Pittsburgh, but that was a given. Now they got the big test.
Yeah, both of those teams have underachieved this year, so it'll be
it's interesting, right?
to see. Yeah, for sure.
All right, but the Lions are what we're talking about today, and I know people are listening in Detroit. They want to call and yell at me and tell me how wrong I am. I just want to know where you were the last 20 years when I was right, but that's another story. You didn't call in when they didn't make the playoffs and say, "Rob, you were right."
No, they had the
right?
They had the bags over their head at that time.
Exactly. Now I'm wrong. Where are you on the Lions, NFL America? Are you all the way in? Like Kerry Rhodes is all the way in. Not only is he on the bandwagon, he's driving the bandwagon.
And I can drive the bus. I've been there.
You're driving it.
I'm driving the bus.
He is driving it, and they're passing out Lions Kool-Aid to anybody who will drink.
And no Stafford jerseys. We're blocking those out.
That's
as well
right.
During the process.
Where are you? Are you convinced that the Lions have turned the corner and they're going to the Super Bowl, going to the NFC Championship game as Kerry thinks, or you still want to see more? I'm in that latter camp. When they get to the Super Bowl and they're in Las Vegas like we are, Rob G, me, you, Chris, and we're talking to Detroit Lions, then I'm going to have a big bowl of humble pie
there you go.
On a plate. I'll do that.